Finding Nemo, a story of discovery and growth, where the protagonist ends up going miles and miles to track down his child. But if we shift the perspective a little bit from Marlin, or not even Nemo, okay, maybe it's a lot, and go to the dentist, and then it becomes a story of just living out your days, doing your own stuff, finding a cute little clownfish on the reef, and then for that clownfish to get killed and then summarily flushed down the toilet after a really chaotic fight with a pelican. But to understand that, let me just put you in his shoes. So imagine that you are the dentist. You're just a regular guy living in a very regular world. You like to do regular guy stuff. One of these days, one of those regular guy things you like to do is scuba diving up in the Great Barrier Reef. During that adventure, you end up stumbling on a poor little clownfish that's struggling for life underneath your boat. And like the Good Samaritan that you are, and not because it's a free aquarium edition, you rescue that poor little soul and take it back with you. And you head back into Cairns. Now, you feel you did good today. You rescued a little clownfish. God knows why it was outside the reef. That's pretty atypical for a clownfish to do. But it is what it is. And you also realize that this is a pretty good gift for Darla. And you go to sleep that night thinking, man, you're a pretty alright guy. A few days later though, you end up in Sydney. Because, you know, Sydney is where you live, never mind the 2,000 miles that you just had to take that poor little clownfish sucker, the mechanisms of which are very unclear because, frankly, probably a clownfish wouldn't last a flight, nor would it last the 2 days that you have to drive that shit. But I digress. So yeah, you're back in Sydney, your practice is doing super well. Barbara's got some great clients recently, some of them some high-profile society members. Things are good. And some guy's in for his routine root canal, Mr. Tucker. So of course you have to introduce him to your new clownfish.
I found that guy struggling for life out in the reef, and I saved him.
And also, people should really watch their sugar intake and make sure they brush their teeth. But then if they did that, then you would be out of a job. So maybe they shouldn't. Anyway, Mr. Tucker, routine root canal. Bish bash bosh, it's all done. But you are rudely interrupted by a fucking pelican who seems to always appear whenever you're doing some significant work for individuals. It's almost as if the pelican and your fish communicate with each other and critique your work, but you know, that would be crazy, right? But realistically, the most logical explanation is that he is trying to eat your fish, which you cannot let happen. This is Darla's fish we're talking about here. Poor little clownfish with a little gimpy fin. He wouldn't last a day out in the ocean, especially not with the pelicans. Unfortunately though, the pelican did break the picture you have of Darla. But you use that opportunity to introduce Darla to the fish, because you figure these fish are probably a little bit sentient, right? And you tell them that that's going to be your new mummy. Granted, the last fish that you bought for her did get shaken to death.
Shaken, not stirred.
But that's okay. It is what it is. She's a bigger girl now. She's like a whole year older. In kid terms, that's like... it's like dog years almost, right? So she probably won't kill the fish this time, right? Anyway, but, you know, because you're such a fish guy, you love fish, you figure this is like on brand for you as a gift. You do go to the toilet in the middle of it because... you know, why not? It's your right as an individual and as a dentist to use the toilet in the middle of a root canal. I think I would actually lose my fucking mind if my dentist did that. But the risk of contamination there is pretty extreme. And you know, like realistically, things largely go back to normal. Everything's going until the day the Prime Minister comes in. And this is a bit frustrating because, you know, the Prime Minister is probably the most important person in Australia and you're doing his dental work. Ergo, you're the most important dentist in Australia and you have to perform an extraction.
What the?
Well, luckily you got the right tooth. And he's the Prime Minister, he's unlikely to leave a bad Yelp review, right? At least you hope. You hope? And over the next few days, something weird happens. The tank gets dirty, and taking it apart, you find it has a case of the tank stones, which is really strange. It's how did a stone manage to fly up the tube? It gets stuck in the... you don't know, but it is what it is. And you figure, well, you were looking to get a new tank cleaner anyway, and now now you can invest in one of those really fancy ones that you're reading on the toilet the other day and get that for your fish, because your fish, they do deserve the best. That's why they have such a fantastic tank. I mean, look at that fucking thing. They got the stones, they got the volcano, they got all the plants. They have everything that they need. You are such a good fish owner and you really do what's best for them. So you get them this really, really expensive, fancy machine. Scans the thing, it's beautiful, truly remarkable. Cleans the tank in a night when that thing was grimy. And honestly, how did that thing get so grimy? You'd almost think that the fish were doing that intentionally or something. But then the day that Darla comes and you're trying to bag the clownfish, and as you're trying to pull it out, the other angelfish jumps into the net and pulls it down against you. Okay, you weren't... What? Sure, fine, right. Weird. So you just quickly grab it in a Ziploc bag and that's the end of it. But it's still strange that the angelfish did something like that, right? It's very odd. So you try to put down the little clownfish on the side, but then it tries to jump out of the window. Very odd. Incredibly surreal. All the fish are going crazy today, it seems. But that's okay, you put it in a little box, can't move anymore. And you get back to doing what you need to do, which is actually the extreme amount of dental work that Darla needs. And I mean, Darla is a sweet kid, but she has some problems, but that's okay. Maybe she just needs to learn how to live in this world. And you can be the one to guide her. You can be the fun uncle. You don't know whether it was the Novocaine or what, but she started salivating the moment you said you got her a present for her birthday. And I mean, like, what kind of sick parent schedules a fucking dentist appointment on someone's birthday? That's just... Okay. Your daycare. That makes so much sense. Your daycare. Anyway, you go to get her little gift, but it turns out the clownfish is dead. All of that. Tracking it down from Cairns all the way down to Sydney, and it's gone. Whoops. So anyway, you don't flush it down the toilet, because the last time you did that, you ended up clogging the toilet and you got like a health code violation. So you figure you might as well toss it in the bin, and like that way you can deal with it later. Probably won't do. It's in the bag, it's in water, it's not gonna stink out the joint. But as you do that, as you are moving towards a bin, the pelican from before comes out to attack you. Like, what? Because you're holding... Oh, it's because you're holding a fish, isn't it? Yeah, so the pelican has just identified that you are holding a fish and is just coming... Okay. So you end up having this scrap with the pelican all over, and then, things happen. You end up dropping the clownfish and it lands on the dentist tools. Luckily the bag doesn't break, which would have been really inconvenient. But then just as you get the pelican out of the way, you start hearing Darla screaming from behind you, and you just look around. The angelfish is on top of Darla flapping around. What? You don't know how that happened, because either the fish had to like jump out. The Darla's like 2 feet from the fish tank. The fish would have had to have jumped 2 feet out of the tank. That's just not really a realistic thing that could happen. So they must have used, I don't know, maybe the volcano as like a propulsion system or something? No, that's crazy.
All the animals are gone mad!
But luckily you wake up just in time to save your angelfish. But for the life of you, the clownfish is gone, like completely, it's just disappeared. You don't know how that happened, but it's almost like the angelfish managed to find a way of getting the clownfish into a drain or something. Or maybe Darla flushed it down the drain. That's something Darla would have done. And a few days later after that, the tank gets grimy again, and that's really annoying because you spent good money on that tank cleaner. And just as you put your fish into baggies, you turn back around again and they're all gone. What the fuck? Anyway, thank you for watching my member video, and thank you for being here and being a member and supporting my channel. Like, it really means a lot to me. To know that people really care about my content that much, that they support me, means the world. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day and have a great life.